Your business plan introduction is a description of your business, your goals, and the reason you're starting the business in the first place. Now, this is different than your executive summary, which contains a bit more information about your financials, marketing plan strategies, and so on. On this podcast, we're going to go over exactly what you put into the business plan introduction. Let's get started. One thing to know about the introduction is it's actually written at the end. It's not something that you write in the beginning like you would many other documents. The introduction takes into account all of the thinking that you put into the rest of the plan. So you've got to do all of that work first, and then you can summarize it in the introduction. There's a template I usually follow that includes what you should put in there. So let me just go over the questions and we'll dive deep into each one of these sections. Why this business? Why now? Is a really big key question to answer. Who's going to buy whatever you're selling, products or services or combination? How will they buy? What's the buying and selling process look like for you? How will your business be different than your competitors? What's your path to financial profitability? When will you become profitable? And how much will you make and by when? It sounds like a lot of information, but let's go over each of these in detail. Now, the key here is you just want to write a quick note about some of these. In fact, some of the questions can be answered with one or two sentences. Others, maybe a paragraph or so. So your entire introduction is probably a page, maybe a page and a half long at most. And this is looking at a business plan that could be a total of about 10 pages. By the way, if you're looking for sample business plans that you can use as guides, actual plans, not just templates, but full plans that are fully written, go to morebusinesses.com, click on templates, and you can get marketing plans and actual business plans that you can use to model your own. So what goes into the introduction? Why this business? Think about why you wanted to start this company in the first place. You can talk about your story. You can talk about a need that you see in the marketplace that has not yet been fulfilled. Or you can talk about other companies doing some similar work, but maybe some of their offerings have a bit of a shortcoming and you found a gap and you think you could fill that gap. Also, when you want to introduce why this business, talk about why now. Now, is this something that there's an urgent need for and you see a trend in the marketplace? If you're opening up a local store, does that mean that there's not a similar store like yours or a restaurant or whatever you're opening up in the geographical area? Now, those are important things because knowing why now can signal to your investors that you've done some of that thinking in terms of how they're going to make their money back. You don't always have to have investors, by the way, to write a business plan. It could be just a document that you use as a roadmap to guide yourself through your entire journey. The next thing is your customer base. Who's going to buy? Who will actually purchase the services and products that you're going to do? Now, a lot of times people get confused with this and they think that there's a much bigger market than there truly is. The more narrow you can focus down on, the more customers you will actually get. It sounds counterintuitive, like, shouldn't I just target a lot more people? My market is men and women aged 18 to 75, which is a really large chunk of the market, right? Pretty much almost every adult that's not a senior citizen. And so the market for what you're selling can be very specific. And the more you niche down, the more focused you'll be able to do your marketing and the better your lead generation is going to be. I'll give you an example of this. So if you're an IT services provider, and let's say you provide cybersecurity services for local businesses, just in that sentence alone, I've actually refined who I'm targeting local businesses to your geographical area. So that means put a dot where you are and then draw a radius around that and say, okay, we're going to service companies that are 25-mile radius or so from where we are. That's one way of looking at it. And the other thing is, what kind of businesses? Do you target lawyers, accountants, HR firms, restaurants, other types of companies? So figure out who you're actually servicing. Now, here's where a lot of people get tripped up. Many people want to target all kinds of companies. So again, going back to this IT service example, if you are a managed service provider and you're looking at providing services to lawyers, yes, the services that you provide could work for accountants too. You could also provide them for restaurants, but I'll tell you, the needs of a restaurant might be different than the needs of an accounting company, which might be different than the needs of a gym, for example. So knowing the nuances of each of these different niche markets helps portray you as an expert in that. Here's a quick way to look at it. If you were to renovate your kitchen, who would you hire? Would you hire A? Contractor A does painting. They wash decks. They do power washing. They build patios. They'll do other general contracting, but basements, bathrooms, drywall work, all kinds of things. They can do the work. They can remodel your kitchen. They do all these things. Now, let me switch this over to contractor B. Contractor B just does kitchens. They could do all the other stuff, but that's not how they market themselves. That's not how they position themselves. It's specifically, we just do kitchens. Who would you trust? More than likely, you're going to trust contractor B because of their perceived expertise. They're going to know more about the latest trends, designs, why you would want to do something one way versus another way, product lines. They'll be able to advise you better. And they're probably going to have a portfolio that looks fantastic because you'll just be looking at kitchens. You're not building a deck, you're just looking at building kitchens. And so that's what you want to see. So when you think about your own business, the more niche focused you can get, the more customers you will get because you will become known in your industry for that expertise. The next part is, how are they going to buy? Are you selling something that's an e-commerce product where you just buy online? Is there an order form? Do people need to contact you to set up a demo? Do people need to reach out to you at your physical location? Do they need to visit your office? So define the entire process of how people buy and how you actually deliver your products and your services. Should be pretty simple, but just describe what that process looks like so it's very clear in the eyes of an investor if you're looking for money. Also, just to make it clear for yourself so that you know how to deliver it. Now, this next section is the competitive analysis. We're just going to say how my business is going to be different than the competitors. And in this part of your introduction, you're not going to include all of the deep dive information that you would include in the competitive analysis part of your business plan. The introduction includes much more trimmed down version of that. So for example, why is your business different than your competitors? You could talk about that niche focus, for example. Going back to the IT services example, we only focus on doctors. And in fact, if you're living in a big geographical region and there are so many doctors, you want to trim it down further. We only focus on surgeons. The more niche you become, the more people in that industry will know you as the resource, the expert for that particular market. Figure out how you're different than your competitors, and simply by going niche, you can do that. Very fast way to do it. Next is, what's your path to profitability? So you're going to need some investment to start your business. Maybe not too much if you're starting a home-based business. You don't have any rent to pay. You don't have a whole lot of other expenses. What you want is a list of what your expenses are, and then how are you going to make money? Granted, when you're first starting a business, that's a bit of an unknown. You're just pulling numbers out of the air almost, but you do want to have some sense of, my goal is to make $10,000 in our first 3 months. And then you just keep going from there. Once you do that, you can have a better idea of what your path to profitability is going to be and the likely time frame it's going to take, which is your break-even point. So when you start becoming profitable in, say, 2 or 3 months, you know that the investments that you've put in have now started to pay for themselves. Here's one way I look at these investments. And a lot of times companies, especially startups, first-time founders, are afraid to put their own money into starting the business and all the expenses that go into it, not just filing fees, but just other expenses outside of your laptop. If you took the same $1,000 that you're thinking about putting into stocks, let's say, and you'd be lucky if you earned 10% on the stock market, which means $100 on a $1,000 investment in 1 year, which works out to what? Just about $8 a month. If you're open to doing something like that and letting someone else's company earn you money, bet on yourself. I would bet that there's a stronger chance that you can make much more from that $1,000. For example, if you use that to take a training course, to buy some software that can help you capture leads online, things like that, that'll help you convert more visitors from your website into actual leads. And what you'll find is that if you put that same $1,000 into you, you're going to get back $4, $5, $10, $15, $100,000 compared to putting it to the stock market and getting back maybe $100, maybe $150 if you're lucky in 1 year. Bet on yourself. So think about all of these different things that go into your introduction. Just write them up. The other thing you can do is you don't have to worry about being a great writer anymore. Once you start writing, just put some thoughts down and you can actually go into these AI tools to help you create that content into prose. So what I like to do sometimes, if I'm stuck on a phrase, if I'm stuck on ways to ideate and come up with different ways of expressing something, I will go to a tool like ChatGPT and just type in my thoughts. And my thoughts can be rambling, but it might be a half a page long. And then I say, write this as a concise paragraph. And it will come back and it'll take those rambling thoughts and put it into something that's very usable. I hope this guide was useful in providing information about how you write your business plan introduction. If you have any comments, please put them below, and I look forward to seeing you on another video.